Hey, folks.
You've already started by touching the table.
All right. Sorry.
It's a good start. Actually, this table is it's a stable table.
It's a stable table, which will enable us to make a video.
I couldn't think of anything else.
Could not. No. The fourth line in the stanza. It's not a stanza without that.
I once did theatre sports.
Theatre sports.
Theatre sports.
That's an oxymoron.
Yeah, it is a bit. But we used to sort of have all these different games. And one of them was, because there's 4 people in a team, and the judge or the adjudicator would give a topic, and on the spot you have to come up with a poem, 4-line poem.
Sure.
And the first person goes, he was standing on the burning deck, and da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da.
The deck. Something that runs the deck.
The person at the end had to be...
Yeah.
And he was listening, or she was listening intently to what the second person said, because if they ended with stable, then they had table, able, gable, fable, Mabel. And it all came down to Mabel.
If the second line ended with hunt,
yeah,
you were stuck. All of a sudden, it's a bawdy limerick.
Or even worse, it could be orange.
Yeah, true, orange.
Yeah. Nothing really rhymed to.
You lose theater games.
So I tried it because it was really, although it was very, very, very hard, and I wasn't particularly good at it. What's the American show? Whose line is it anyway?
Yeah,
it's those sort of people that just think on the spot. I really admire them, but I wasn't terribly good. But it really sharpened me up to make me the YouTube star that I am today.
That's his secret, folks. If you want to be a YouTube star, you got to go to theater camp.
And by the way, this is the Tim Newton Show with my sidekick, Steve Rosse with an E.
I thought it had a different title. I thought I was showing up for a different show. But sure, all right, the Tim Newton Show with Steve.
With Steve.
The second banana, yeah.
Hey, you've been getting a few offers lately. Who were you going to do a YouTube show with? You were telling me that the pre-production meeting is much better for recording than the actual show. You were telling me that you were going to do a YouTube, and I said, no, you didn't read the contract.
Oh, I remember that part of it. Yeah. Oh, no, because I had offered, another guy came to Thai Muang to make a video. And bless his heart, he can't pronounce the name of the place. He doesn't know anything about the place. He's wandering around guileless and guideless. And I'm right there. Dude, let me take you to these places and tell you how to pronounce their names and show you, if you go to the turtle hatchery, you got to see the turtles. You can't go in the front and say, oh, there's no turtles here, and leave. So I was saying I am available to any vlogger who wants to shoot Thai Muang. And that's when you said, no, I belong to you, heart, body, and soul.
Yeah.
And I wear your brand on my hip, and that's it.
Read the contract.
Yeah, I can't work for anybody else.
By the way, you might wonder why we're yelling. It's because it's pissing down.
Yeah, it's really loud at the moment.
What?
Rain. Yeah, imagine rain in Panga.
During the wet season.
Yeah, who'd have thunk it?
Shocking.
But yeah, it's thundering down.
And we're looking out towards the main road between Thai Muang, I'm doing my best,
Phuket and Renon,
and Khao Lak, which is about half an hour up the road.
Right, yeah.
And this is another funky restaurant you've taken me to.
Yeah.
As we go to the cutaways, tell us all about it.
Well, as near as I can pronounce it, it is Rua Kud Ra. Now, Rua is boat. Ra is a word for tin. These were all Muang Ra, all tin mines around here. Kud, I don't know, but I'm going to guess that means boat for the carrying of tin ore. I'm going to guess. But at any rate, it's another, some family, like I said, some family had a bunch of palm, and one of the sons was educated abroad and said, look, we can put a shishi restaurant there. We're right on the road. We'll get drive-by traffic.
Very shishi.
Very shishi, very millennial, very trendy. And it's right in the middle of a palm plantation. And absolutely nobody gives a rat's ass about people, shooting videos. They just walk right through. Yeah, you're okay. Rock on, brother, man. Ugh, people.
Some of our
Get me started.
East European friends have come to visit us.
Yeah, and they needed to pick a table, and then they were intent on picking their table. Anyway,
They were looking for boontongs, and they tracked you down here.
I won't allow it to trigger me. But anyway, that's where we are. It's about halfway between Thai Muang and Tung Ma Prao. Oh, and that was something else I wanted to talk about this week, the dynamite truck that blew up in Tung Ma Prao.
Oh, yes.
Someone had asked about that.
Yes. Because I don't know what I was talking about. But yeah, somebody said, but you didn't mention the explosion in Thai Muang. I thought, what explosion in Thai Muang?
Yeah. Well, is this a good time? Yeah, get ready. So 1991, a construction company in Bangkok had ordered...
Yeah, hang on, everybody.
Can you hear me? Raise your hand if you can hear me.
Only just.
A construction company in Bangkok had ordered a bunch of dynamite from India. And it costs a lot of money to have that delivered in the port of Bangkok. It's very dangerous. So instead, they had it delivered to Phuket. They loaded it in the dead of night onto a 10-wheel truck. And then they were going to drive that truck to Bangkok. They got as far as a little town up here called Tung Ma Prao. It means
Up the road.
Yeah, means coconut bag. And the truck went over on its side. It blocked traffic so that now on this major highway, which is 4 lanes up there, it had blocked traffic in both directions. Wow. So there were about 100 vehicles just jammed up there against this truck. And something happened and the dynamite was ignited and it went up and it vaporized 1,000 people immediately.
1,000?
1,000, including, now someone can look that up. And don't let us disturb your meal, sir. And someone could look that up. I may have that wrong. But there was a tour bus full of 90 Chinese that was the next vehicle behind the truck when it went over. That bus was the closest thing to the truck when it went up. Nothing was ever found of that bus except the engine block, which was found a quarter-mile away.
Oh, wow.
90 people vaporized like that. And they were all encouraged to stay on the bus, right? They were told, everybody's told, stay in your cars. Don't get out of your cars. We're going to get a crane. We're going to lift this out. Everybody stay in your cars. So there was terrible. And then, of course, you had everything vaporized within a circumference of a few hundred yards. And then cinder blocks falling out of the sky for about half a mile in every direction. So there were a lot of injured people who came to Thai Muang, to our hospital. And they were treated for weeks there, and everybody in town came out to volunteer, bring their phones, bring food. And the people in Thai Muang think they earned a whole lot of good karma from that event, and that's why they were unscathed in the tsunami of 2004. They won't tell you it's because of the geology of this part of the coastline. They will tell you it's because we were good people for our neighbors in 1991, so in 2004 we were spared the tsunami.
By the way, any camera shaking you're seeing now is not because of the table.
No.
Because of the wind.
Yeah.
We've got somewhat of a torrential downpour happening.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can hear it.
As soon as we finish this, assuming we finish this,
The sun will come out.
sun will come out, the sun will shine brightly, the birds will sing, the butterflies will flit past the wind. But until we say that's a wrap, it's going to be like this.
Now, and you can see the staff running around in the background, sort of getting the buckets out and the towels.
Yeah.
And we're just marching on. We're just continuing. And
Apparently, you build your restaurant out of natural materials. The roof's going to leak.
I hope it doesn't leak above us.
Yeah.
So today on my daily program,
I've heard of it. I haven't had time to catch it yet, but yeah, I've heard of it.
and I decided I was going to do, there were a few stories that were updates to stories I've done during the week. So I thought I'll do a little update session at the start. It reminded me about an old TV jingle I heard back in the 1960s, which was so old it was black and white. And it was
The song was black and white.
the song was black and white.
That's old, man.
It was in colour, but the song was in black
The song
and white.
was painted on a cave wall.
And it was a jingle for a used car dealer whose name was Kevin Dennis. Nobody would ever heard of him out of Melbourne. So it was Update Your Car with Kevin Dennis. And it was one of those songs that has not only stuck with me through the 1960s, even now I could remember Update. So I almost rushed out to buy a car from Kevin Dennis, Fly Madge's Slows instead. And I thought, I'll download the jingle, which of course YouTube had it. Would there be any doubt? So I thought I'll just cut the update bit out of it and I'll put it ahead of each topic today, just for fun. Well, the comments section, I'm unsubscribing. How dare you?
That was me.
Thanks. Well, it wasn't just one, because it's like about 50 people decided to jump on their Google machine and berate me for daring to try something, well, even vaguely different.
When I was a kid, there was a jingle on the radio. My mom used to listen every morning. This is apropos of nothing.
Rush Limbaugh.
The rain makes me nostalgic. She used to listen to a guy named Bob Crane. He was a radio disc jockey in Los Angeles, California. He went on to be an actor and star in Hogan's Heroes. Yeah.
Right.
And then died violently in a crime that is still not solved. He was beaten to death with a telephone.
And he was in radio before he went into...
He was an L.A. disc jockey. And my mom used to listen to his show every morning while she got ready to go to work. And he had a sponsor, Dr. Ross Dog Food. And the jingle was, Dr. Ross Dog Food is doggone good. Woof! And that has stayed in my head. 60 years, Dr. Ross Dog Food is doggone good. Woof!
So if you jump onto Dr. Ross Dog Food...
It may be out there.
That's a bit of a tongue twister. I wonder how they're doing on the stock exchange. Did you buy shares at the time?
People have way more pet dogs now than they did when I was a kid. So
maybe it worked.
Yeah. But it was not with an E.
How's Dr. Ross? Has he gone to God as well?
I haven't a clue. I haven't heard that jingle since I was 5 years old. I don't have a clue.
So we've got rain and tempest at the moment.
And traffic. Don't forget the traffic.
And the traffic. And, of course, as it goes past, it goes through the puddles.
Right.
Making additional noise.
And wandering Slavs that wander through the
shuffle customers.
Yeah, yes, important customers.
So we brought our book, and somebody asked me during the week, what was the name of that book that you were picking the topics from? Well, as it happens, be careful, you've got a bit of moisture there. So we got the book back, and it's called Very Thai, and it's been written by
Philip Cornwell Smith. Excellent, a wonderful. I know I pimp it often, but it's a very wonderful resource that you want to keep on your shelf for when somebody invites you to a funeral or an ordination ceremony and you don't know what you're supposed to do.
Steve gets a 20% commission on
No,
every
I
sale.
do not. I do not. This
You
is
know, that's going to become a meme. They're going to be going, why you can't get enough money for your operation. You get 20% commission from every sale. They're going to say that. You know somebody's...
Well, they're welcome to say that. It is not the case. I simply admire the two books. The companion volume is very Bangkok, and I admire Mr. Cornwell Smith's efforts, his labor, the amount of work that went into it, the amount of just editing, this amount of text. It's a phenomenal piece of scholarship.
It's great book, and really nicely printed and published. It is literally available at any good bookstore everywhere. I should also mention that Steve's got his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
What are you fishing for? You playing with your hernia?
No, something bit me in bed last night, a spider or something. I got an itch.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, Steve's got his own YouTube channel. It's Steve Ross with an E on the end. So don't get it confused with Steve Ross without an E.
And, you know, my father changed his name from Rosenberg to Ross on his 18th birthday, and nobody knows why. Because the guy, you know, he disappeared when I was born. Nobody knows where he went or what he did. But he changed his name from Rosenberg to Ross with an E. If he'd had any idea that I would have to go through the rest of my life introducing myself as Steve Ross with an E, he probably would have done it anyway because he was a shitheel. But
did you ever reconnect with him?
When I was 44, I found him on the internet. He had gone to, he had spent decades avoiding the grid, and there was little. He got out of prison when I was 9 months old,
What was he in there for?
Stealing the U.S. mail. He went to he had got a spare. I've told this on my channel. I'll tell it again. The guy's dead. It won't hurt his feelings. He had a car. He was a student in college. He had a car. He had an uncle who worked for the post office in Los Angeles. And at Christmas time, the post office would hire college kids who had a car because they had 2 weeks off school and they had a car. And the post office had this huge crush of mail, of Christmas cards and Christmas gifts. And so they would hire these kids to drive sacks of mail from the central processing facility out to the suburbs. And on Christmas Eve, at midnight, on Christmas Eve, 1957, I was 3 months old, and he got busted by a cop flying through a red light at midnight with 3 bags of mail in the back of his car. And he wasn't supposed to have that at midnight. He wasn't supposed to have that stuff after working hours. And they came to my mom's apartment, and they searched her apartment, and in a storage shed downstairs, they found about 8 or 9 more bags of mail. And they said to my mom, okay, the lease is in your name. We're going to take you to jail. By now, it's 1 o'clock Christmas morning. She's got a 3-month-old baby in her arms. His mother is dying on her sofa, and he's out getting rousted by cops. Turned out he had another wife across town. So anyway, they sent him to prison for a year. He spent 9 months. They let him out for good behavior. He didn't tell anybody he was getting out. He disappeared. He dropped off the grid. He was never seen again. I found him and went out. He was living in Las Vegas, and I went out and met him and hung out with him for a couple days.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had those 2 days together in Las Vegas to get to know each other, and then he died. And that's as much as I know about him. But yeah, I don't think, and I never asked him in those 2 days, why the E? Why did you do this? But it was at a time when the Greenbergs were becoming green with an E, the Steinbergs were becoming Stein with an E, yada, yada, yada. So who knows?
So why Ross with an E? Could have just been Rose.
Could have been Rose. It could have been Rosen. It could have been Ross, R-O-S-S. But as it happens, Steve has 5 letters, Ross has 5 letters, so it looks good on the printed page. My byline is eye-catching. Steve, Ross, capital S, capital R, all the rest are small letters. It simply looks good on a page, so...
It sure does.
Yeah.
As we speak, it is precipitating very heavily.
I hope you can hear us. I hope to God you can hear us. I don't want to have to do this again.
Thank you for persisting.
Though the meal was very good here. I thought. The meal was good. It's a little spendy, but the meal was very good here.
And nice environment. I'm sure it's delightful when the weather's nice.
Yes.
When they don't have the blinds down. Anyway,
Yeah.
Let's find a topic.
All right. You ready? Drum roll, Professor.
I'll put my update jingle on. They love that.
Oh. Mr. Cornwell Smith calls this urban Thai dream. Siamese lifestyle went to the mall, the suburb, the golf course. And I think there's not much to say about that, except, yes, we had spoken before about
gentrification?
Well, no, that a Thai man, he makes a lot of money of a previous generation. He'll buy a big house where he envisions all his children and grandchildren growing up in this big house. But the children and grandchildren don't want to live in a big house in the country. They want to live in a condo in Bangkok. And so there are these big houses scattered throughout Thailand that have nobody living in them because modern Thais want them all. They want a movie theater. They want endless food and shopping around them. They want to live in the city. They don't want to live in the countryside. And we see the same thing in America. I don't know how it is in Australia, but in America, there's a flight of rural young people moving to the city for work or for culture or to be more accepted. People whose personalities don't fit on the farm in America, they'll move to the big city. Yeah, so I think that's what Phil was talking about.
On the conservative side of Australian politics, there are 2 main parties, which usually when they're in government, they're a coalition. The Liberal Party, which as we mentioned last week is strangely the Conservatives in Australia, and there's also the country parties, which represents the needs of the people in the country.
That makes sense.
And that party over the last 50 years is just getting smaller and smaller, as of course the same thing's happening. You know, the young people moving to the cities for a life with an electric car and an apartment.
In a bowling alley. In America, we also had during the 70s, the big corporations came in and bought up all the family farms. I'm from Iowa, so I know.
Monsanto.
Yeah, Monsanto and the others. And they bought out all the family farms. So you rarely will find a family farm in the countryside in the United States now, at least in Iowa. Boy, can they hear us at all?
What?
This is, it's really coming down, folks.
So we'll steam on. We'll see how we go. Yes, look there. That's where it is. No.
I'm looking at yourself, Steve.
Yes. So let's try another one.
All right.
That's urbanization. Yeah, it's happening in Thailand as well.
I'm sorry if I'm shouting. It's a reflex.
What?
Yeah.
So if you want to see, the real Thailand, you just got to look a little bit harder and go a little bit further. How are you going with your eyesight there?
Oh, my eyes suck. I stared into a computer monitor for 8 hours a day for 40,000 solid hours of my working life, and my eyesight is shit now. This one is day colors, which is I only know Tuesday is pink. I don't remember the other one.
So the idea is when you go into, pretty much all offices, and it used to be much more prominent in the past than it is now, but I used to know certainly when you go into public service offices, they will usually have a different shirt for each day, which is a particular colour related to the royal family. So I think Monday is yellow.
Shall I read them from Mr. Cornwell Smith? I immaculately researched Liv.
I think Monday's yellow from memory.
Nope. Sunday. Well, let's start with Sunday. Sunday is red for the sun god, Pra'atit. Monday is yellow for the moon god, Prachan.
Monday was yellow.
You said Sunday.
I said Monday.
Yeah, rewind. Check him on that. Steve got it wrong. Another one for Steve got it wrong. So that's Monday is yellow.
I thought Monday was yellow because of His Majesty the former king was born on a Monday.
Well, that is the royal color, yellow.
Give this guy a ring and tell him that Tim said.
Dear Phil, Tim says. Tuesday's pink for Mars.
They got Tuesday right.
Wednesday is green. Thursday is orange. Friday is blue. Saturday is purple. And that's
Sunday. Yes.
Yeah, that's a week. So yeah, it used to be 35 years ago. There were people who would only wear, people I knew, who would come to work in the appropriate shirt and only wear the appropriate color. They really, I don't see it as much, but typically in group surroundings, everybody from the office, if you go out for lunch or whatever, they'll all try to wear the same color shirt.
And because they only wore them once a week, they would last. They're usually polo shirts.
Yeah.
They would last for 20 years. Yeah. So there'd be ladies wearing shirts that were really 2 or 3 sizes too small for them because these shirts would last so long. But yeah, I used to notice it in the Labour office in Phuket. Every time I'd go in there, they were religiously wearing their day colours. So that's something you see in Thailand that you're not going to see anywhere else.
Yeah. And I wonder, I have often thought, I've got different colored shirts. I wonder if I'm going into an office somewhere, should today I wear a pink shirt or a blue shirt? Because, as Falang, we're always trying to curry favor, right? We want to be liked, at least me. I'm just that insecure. I'm constantly trying to think, what can I do to make these people like me? So I thought about wearing the shirt.
That sentiment here.
But on the other hand, there is the, do you appear to be trying too hard? I think the Falang guys who wear a bunch of amulets, I don't think those guys are doing themselves any favors. I think the Thai people look at that and go, he's a poser.
Try hard.
Yeah, you're thirsty, dude. You're trying too hard. So, I've never worn the colored shirts for that reason.
I'm sitting here wondering if my beach house is being washed out to sea at the moment. Because there's a lot of rain falling.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear us. I hope you can hear us.
Okay, we've done well. So that's day colours.
Day color.
And you can see that we've got a Monday duck here.
All ducks are born on Monday, apparently.
Yeah.
Chickens, rubber chickens, too. They're all
Now
born
they're closing the... so we're getting darker as well as noisier. Okay, let's go to the next one.
We're going to tell ghost stories today. All right, we're going to go near the back of the book.
Go to the back. Magically just picking at random a topic in this great book.
Oh, no, I don't know much about this. Yadong.
I know nothing about Yadong.
Yeah, I know Yadong.
Knowable drugs, alcohol, and sex in a bottle.
Yeah, I guess that's the things you mix with alcohol. You know, a snake's gizzard and rhinoceros horn or whatever. If you mix them with alcohol, I think that's called yadong. Ya is alcohol and yadong.
The Japanese are really into this mixing crushed up bull's testicles and things, trying to make them
Hard pass. Hard pass. Yeah.
Well, these days, of course, yadong can be found in a little blue pill.
Yeah.
That'll sort of do the same thing, probably much more reliably.
Now, one thing I know I'm more familiar with is yadom. Dom is to sniff. And Chamnan, my friend /
Man Friday.
He uses yadom. He's got a chrome tube and a U shape. And he'll pack this powder in the end of that and blow it up his nose, right? On both sides. And it gets him high. He doesn't want to drive the motorcycle after he does yadom. But then he goes around, he'll get up and walk out in the yard and go, smack, 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 smack. He doesn't carry a handkerchief. He doesn't use tissues. He'll just go outside and then wipe his hands and come in and do my dishes. So I know, and it smells great. And I bought him a few bottles. You know how, what's in it? I don't know. It smells terrific. You buy it just in the Nidnoy shops in town, in the pharmacies in town. It's not regulated or anything. So
What did it do? Did it make him feel happy or sleepy or?
No, euphoric. I think it's a euphoric high.
Wow.
And, I'll sit there and have broccoli and he'll sit there and have yadom and we'll watch a Thai movie and we're both very happy. So that's yadom. And that's the only, I don't know any brand names. I don't know what's in it.
Is that a illicit drug?
No, it's sold. It's sold in all the little shops. There are a lot of guys do it. I think, a rural Thai guy whose grandfather did it, he'll be doing it.
Yeah, okay.
And Shamnan does not drink alcohol. He does not smoke cigarettes. He does not smoke marijuana. This is his one vice, and I think it's the cheapest vice. He doesn't even roll that crappy homegrown tobacco in the banana leaves and do that. Because he's supporting his mother, his wife, and his daughter on what he makes cutting weeds. So it's the cheapest drug available.
Weeds.
Yeah, real weeds. He's an agrarian worker. He cuts palm, he cuts bamboo, he cuts rice, he cuts pineapple. We don't have a lot of rice here. He's an agrarian worker. He's a day laborer. And he's supporting 4 people on that. So I think his drug is the cheapest drug he can find.
On a positive note, Steve, I won't have to water the garden today. It is really, really pissing down.
Yeah.
We're going to do one more because I suspect this isn't as easy to watch as it might otherwise.
No, I apologize, folks. I hope you can hear us. I hope I'm not shouting into this thing.
What?
Yeah. All right.
One more. Update your car with Kevin Dennis.
Oh, blind bands. Street musicians. Blind street musicians.
All right.
You see that?
You're doing well.
Yeah. That's something I've noticed. I haven't read Mr. I should read the chapters before we come on and pick these random topics. But yeah, I've noticed them everywhere. Temple fairs, busy streets, the night market, blind people sitting there with amplifiers, singing and collecting donations. I don't know why blind people. Have you seen that anywhere else?
Oh, that's something. No, I've seen it very often, and they all seem to be playing the same songs on the same, usually out of tune instruments, and they might be blind, but some of them I think are tone deaf as well. That they don't usually represent. That's a big truck going fast as well. They don't usually represent the highest echelon of Thai singer, but
No. But that's not their, they are the most pathetic and needful looking Thai sinners. Now, there is an argument to be made that unless you see how they live at home, don't give them money. The Buddha says you give them money, you earn the karma, it doesn't matter what they do with it.
Sure. And I'm sort of hoping that there might be a new generation of these blind singers that actually get, sort of good quality MP3 karaoke files, and perhaps do some more updated jingles in the future, because they all seem to be singing the same 2 or 3 very old songs that are not terribly appealing to the Western ear.
No.
Am I being polite? I'm trying my best.
Since I got here, there used to be a guy named Todd Lavelle who wrote a newspaper article.
His real name, I'm sure.
Todd Lavelle was his real name. His nom de plume was Tong Di, good gold. And he was a savant in languages who came here and assimilated very quickly. And he used to praise the 2 kinds of country music, Ma Lam and Lupung. And he used to praise it, he used to sing it. And again, you're looking for favor. You're trying to curry favor with your hosts. I sing television theme songs, and it makes all the girls in the bar laugh, and Steve earns some brownie points. He used to do this with Ma Lam. I cannot listen to Ma Lam to save my life. I cannot tell Lupung from Ma Lam, and I don't care to listen to either one. It's a lot of oi, 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 oi through the nose, and I won't have it. I won't have it.
Our Eastern European friends are looking at you.
That I don't mind. They can look. They can be audience members. That's fine. I don't mind.
So with our street musicians out of the way, we are going to finish, and I know as soon as we turn it off, the sun's going to come out, and I might even try to wave a bit of a filter over this to filter out the noise.
Good luck, dude. Good luck.
But you're off next. Well, you're off most weeks, but you're especially off next Monday.
Oh, yes. I'm going to Cambodia for 2 weeks.
So I tell you what, next week we're going to have a week off from Grumpy Old Men, and I've got a special program because my sponsor and a lot of his friends, they were going up to the Burmese border and taking hundreds of tons of food with food bags and helping a lot of these Burmese refugees who are flooding across the border. They want to get out of Myanmar. The Thai government don't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
So they went up there and they were helping truck in hundreds of tons of food. So I've got a special report about that and an interview with Sean. I was meant to go up there myself, but it coincided with those problems I was having with my back. And they said, you do not want to be up here on these roads with a bad back. So it's a special report on next week's Sunday morning slot. The Steve will be back with a new visa. His surgery would have been done, maybe not completely healed.
Oh, no. Surgery's October 15th.
No, this is your facelift.
Oh, the facelift.
Yeah, and the hair transplant. We might see the plugs, but we'll see how.
I love this hair. I love this hair.
So good luck on your trip.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be trying, somebody has just opened an Airbnb down the street from me, and they offer their guests taxi to the airport. So I'm gonna get the taxi from the Airbnb to the airport.
Well, give us a report on how good they were.
Yeah, Turtle Beach is entering the new age. We got a taxi,
and I bet he's going to be sitting in the back seat.
Fuck yeah,
complaining. See everybody.
Bye. I love you guys. Thank you very much.